The summer of chaos is upon us. Woo! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Glacial Geek video. Today, I want to talk about something that is obviously on the minds of a lot of players right now, and is something that is in the minds of many of us, and to discuss something. It is the summer of chaos that is upon us. So the releases that they've been talking about, that people have been expecting for the summer, are upon us. So we are imminently about to receive Chaos Knights. We have confirmation for the Chaos Space Marine Codex coming out. They released a bunch of new models that are going to be coming out, showed them in the previews for Warhammer Fest. And I'm not going to lie, it got me pretty excited. I know that a lot of people are going to make the joke, Phil, don't you already have a Chaos Army, the Dark Angels, blah? No, I don't. But I want one, because they're super cool looking. All the new models they have coming out look super rad. And I think that this is going to be fun. I think it's going to be cool to be on board. The Chaos Knight models look rad. The Chaos Space Marine models that are coming out look rad. Just all of it looks rad, and I want in. So, I am going to be making a Chaos Army. I've already got plans for Chaos Knights I've been building up. I'm also going to work on some Chaos Space Marines. And that actually brings us to today's video, which is going to be about starting on that process with a little special model.
I would like to introduce to you Lady Maxima. Lady Maxima traveled through the Veil under protest, believing Davicus' quest to be a foolish use of the Vanguard forces. 60 years later, she returned the living embodiment of the wisdom of her apprehensions, twisted in body and mind. While her dedication to the mission was certainly in question, when the Vanguard entered the Veil, Maxima's ruthless execution of her new god's will leaves little room for doubt concerning her loyalty. She is from the sponsor of today's video, Ravaged Star, Armies of the Veil Touched. The Veil Touched is a successful campaign on GameFound.com put forth by Mini Wargaming Dave and Lazy Squire Games. These heroic scale 32mm models are beautiful to be used as either proxies for your mini wargaming games, or as just beautiful models to paint and display to others. The model I'm painting today is a 3D printed model of what you can expect, but they will be produced in high quality PVC plastic. The campaign was successfully funded, but is currently in a pledge manager state where you can go and order your own right now. Use the link below in the description and you can check it out and see what models they have available. So today we started out by priming it black and giving it a zenithal prime as well. Starting into painting the armor here, we went with the Necromancer Cloak, which is a dark gray as opposed to a straight up black. It gives it a bit more dimension and allows me to later shade it down to give the color that I want while still retaining dimension and some kind of distinction. That's hard to do on straight just black. Then we started painting in the cloaks. Here we've got some chaotic red that I'm going to be using for this. To start it off, I just give a base coat of that chaotic red, a deep dark red, crimson colored. It's a nice contrast to the black armor. Then we want to give it some dimension to the cloak, so we use some pure red. I use this to highlight some there, but I'm also using it to feather out. So I'll put down a layer of crimson, and then I put in the pure red here, and then feather out between them while they're still wet. So a mix between feathering and wet blending, just to give some dimension to these cloaks. It took a bit of going back and forth on a lot of these, but I think it worked out really well, providing some dimension and giving some nice changes in color on these cloaks themselves. So you can see here where I had a bit of a too much there, so I had to go back and dull down the highlight a little bit by feathering it out with some water on a clean brush. As you can see, pretty dimensional cloaks there without even washing. And I don't end up washing these cloaks at all. I went with this dimension, which is actually honestly a first for me, which is cool. Then onto the skin on the face here. I didn't do a great job on the face, but I started out with some ruby skin tone here, which comes from the Army Painter's skin tone line, as well as some garnet pigment toner to tone in some cheek color there, as you can see, but it ends up getting messed up anyway. You'll see later on. Then I used some lava orange to paint in the hair. I also use this to mark out some of their dimensional things on the shoulder pad and on a little marker on the front there to give a little bit of a color boost there. But I like that color for hair color. Then we used oak brown to paint in the staff of her weapon here. We then move on to the metallics. I used gunmetal for the silver parts, and I used greedy gold for the golden aspects of them. So you can see where I painted in the blade there, and then I go in over top here with the gold, give it some other colors on the weapon. I used that same gold after painting the weapon and stuff like that to mark in a lot of the filigree on this armor. There's a lot of it, as you would expect from a model in a chaos themed line, but there wasn't too much on this model, which is pretty nice. There was just enough to give it that look without having to be monotonous and annoying to paint. As you can see, it looks pretty good. That's where we're at this point before we've done any washes. Again, the cloak's looking very dimensional, but everything else is going to be a little bit of a little kick. I go here with a skeleton bone to paint in the horns up on top of her head, as well as paint in the skulls at the base of her model there. The base on this model is actually fully 3D printed, so that's pretty nice. Looks very cool. Now we go into the washes here. Use a little bit of the soft skin wash for the face. I also use this on the hair as well as the bones on top of her head there. I then used the strong tone to paint in the skulls on the base there. And I used dark tone on all of the metallics as well as into the armor as well. So that's why I started with that dark gray versus a black, because I could go in with a black wash and give it more dimension that you'll never get if you just start with a straight black color there. So all of the metallics and all of the armor got a coat of that. Then I used a speed paint, the Grave Lord Gray, to paint in the base, because the base was very dimensional, had a lot of texture to it, and I knew that it would work very well with a speed paint. And quite frankly, I think it looked great, better than I probably could have achieved with regular paints anyway. Then we tried to do some crazy, spooky stuff. So I try to paint in her eyes here with this, and as you can see, it looks awful. But I did do well with the dry brushing of that same cloak there onto the hand to show like energy, power coming out of there. So warp-touched, chaosy stuff going on there. So I repainted the face, as you can see, went back over it, and then just did some dry brushing with that same color, trying to get it a little bit more subtle than what I had gotten. I basically just painted the eyes blue, and even then it didn't really come out super great, a little bit over there. But here is the final painted model. I'm super happy with how it turned out. The face obviously is not my greatest, but that's fine. I like everything else about it. I like the armor, I like the model itself is beautiful, and it really held itself open to having a lot of fun with painting. I think that the cloak looked really awesome. I think that the weapons came out really awesome. The design, the pose, everything about it was a ton of fun to do. And I think at the end of the day, it looks pretty rad. And I'm very, very happy with the effects that I was able to get, except again for that face. And here you can see her compared with the other model that I had done in that same line. This is the Butcher. I painted him mostly with speed paints, her mostly with regular war paints. So you can see the contrast between the two of them there. I think they both look great in their own right, and I think that either is an excellent choice.
So there we go. An awesome looking Chaos Sorcerer for my upcoming Chaos Space Marine army. And an awesome model from the Veil Touched line from Ravaged Star. So thank you to Mini Wargaming Dave and Ravaged Star for sponsoring this video. I'm super excited about the model, and I think she looks great. I think she looks awesome. I think she's going to make a cool Chaos Sorcerer for my army. and possibly for yours. You can go check it out. They've got, like I said before, they have their the project manager, the fund manager right now, so you can make your decision to buy some of these models if you just go down to the link in the description below. Take you over there, check them out, and see if there's anything that you like. The models look great. They look super chonky. There's a lot of great detail on them, which makes them fun to paint. And they're easy enough to paint, as you saw with the other one that I did with just mostly with the speed paints. This one I just did the base with the speed paints and everything else with regular paints. A ton of fun to paint. I'm really happy how the ropes came out in this. Not gonna lie, that's possibly my favorite part of the whole model, how they came out there. The face is not my best face. Let's be honest. But that's me. That's not the line. That was all on me for not doing a great job of it. But I'm really happy how they came out. So, and like I said, this one that I'm working on here is a 3D print of what the models are going to be. So go check them out. They're awesome. Just great models in and of themselves, but they also make great proxies for your game that you might be able to use, especially with a new codex coming out. That would be great for that. So go check them out, and I hope you guys have all enjoyed this. I certainly have. I have been Phil, the Glacial Geek, as always. And until next time, stay safe and have fun.